Kansas Sports Chatter gets back at it as our next segment is our Kansas Sports Hall of Fame segment. And a vice chairman of the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame is going to be Jeff Bollig. He's back on the program today. Hey, Jeff, before we get into our Hall of Fame spotlights, unfortunate news that Kansas Sports Hall of Fame, they lost a really good one here recently.
Right. Our chairman, Jim Dunning, passed away in late September. And Jim was a longtime volunteer on the board and then provided great leadership during the COVID time, when things were in flux for many organizations. And, Jim was a Heights graduate, played baseball there, then went to Cloud County and played there, and then to Northwest Oklahoma. And just a great person, very dedicated. His funeral was amazing. Wall-to-wall people. He affected so many people in many different ways. So a big loss, and we feel for his family and the state as well. He was just a great resource and a good person, and we miss him.
Yeah, continued thoughts to his family and a big person on that for that Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. Our spotlight today, Jeff, you open up this vault door, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's got all these names of all these great candidates, of Hall of Fame candidates, and you pull one out, Melvin Lister. For those that are listening or they haven't looked at the bottom line on the screen yet, kind of give us the run through of what Melvin was able to accomplish.
Wow. Melvin was an outstanding athlete from Leavenworth and competed from 93 to 96. We inducted him in 2024, so he's recent. But Melvin won national long jump and triple jump titles on the high school level, the junior college level at Butler Community College, and then at Arkansas collegiately. Won an Olympic trials event, and then went on to 2 different Olympics. So it's really, truly amazing. And I think the one thing that may separate him is in history in Kansas high school athletics, 7 people have won the same event 4 different times. And Melvin's one of those, doing the triple jump from 93 to 96. So that just tells you what kind of athlete he was. It was our honor to have him. He's a tremendous person.
I was doing my research after you sent me, those articles, and I was reading through them, and just like his start in athletics, was maybe a little bit abnormal. Like just the start of that article you sent me, he was playing saxophone. He was focusing on saxophone.
Right. Well, he grew up in New York, Brooklyn, and his family moved out to Leavenworth in junior high, and he played the saxophone. His dad was a tremendous saxophone player, so he practiced after school with him. And then one day, the coach at Leavenworth, 9th grade, asked Melvin to go out for football, and he did. And somebody showed his dad a picture of the paper, and his picture was showing him scoring the winning touchdown, and nobody had any idea. So that was kind of the start, and he was a natural. And actually, the reason he went to Butler is because he's going to play both sports. He was going to play football and track, but he qualified for an international meet, which forced him to train and miss most of spring practice. And when he went and won the event, everybody said, okay, we know where your future is. So his football career, which he liked more, he liked football more than track, but we knew where his bread was buttered. And so that was the start or the continuation of a great career as a long jumper and a triple jumper. And he also ran some sprints.
You look at that choice, going to Butler Community College, and I think more and more athletes, especially in the state of Kansas, should look at going that community college route. But, for those that may not know, track is a really good option. There's been a ton of really good track athletes that have gone through the community college route.
Oh, absolutely. Great coaches as well. And this was a chance for him really when he went down to Butler to hone his skills in football, because he didn't play early on. And so he really wanted to, kind of get that training on that mid-level before seeing what his next steps were. And he was recruited for track by 4-year schools, but he just had this desire to go to try football. And of course he did so well, he had to continue on. But you're right. The community college track, especially for some kids, for example, in Texas and in California, will repeat a grade. And so they've actually kind of redshirted early on. And for Kansas kids who may not work year round or may do multiple sports, when they start to specialize a little in the higher level, the junior college or community college offers a great opportunity for them, and that's why you see such great success across the board from Kansas schools.
Jeff, you mentioned Melvin Lister, a 2024 inductee. Any stories that stood out that you remember from a couple of years ago that, for his presentation?
Yeah, well, a few things. First of all, he lives in Oklahoma City and he works for AT&T, I believe, but he also volunteers coaches for Carl Albert High School in Oklahoma City. And his daughter, and I'd have to follow up because I think it's been about a year. His daughter, I think, is like the top 2 or 3 ranked nationally in the long jump.
Wow.
So the apple didn't fall far from the tree. But the other thing I think is kind of interesting is his wife's, who went to Arkansas with him, her grandmother was legendary for making cakes. So they decided to create a food truck for cakes. So they will go around to various festivals, track meets, events, and they sell cakes. and Andrea and Melvin Lister, and they're quite successful at it. They sent me a sample. It was excellent.
Nice.
So I've told Melvin the next time he's free to come up to the next Hall of Fame induction, bring the truck up, and we'll get cakes for everyone. But just very outgoing person, and I think very humbled that he would be recognized. And I think this is why I appreciate the platform we offer here, because so many of our student athletes look for opportunity, and sometimes it takes them out of state, right? And sometimes it's out of state, out of mind. And I just feel for those kids because they meant so much to us growing up. We followed them and we cheered them on and we coached them, and they were our neighbors. And while we don't begrudge that they went out of state, that's their opportunity. You just don't want to forget them. And Melvin was that kid who excelled. And Leavenworth's produced so many great athletes, and so for him to go on, and of course, you can't turn down Arkansas. Arkansas is the premier track program in the nation, and so good for him. And I'm happy he's had success. I'm happy that his daughters continued as well. And I think the best thing for in the presentation is sometimes it's good to let a few years pass from their competition. You're saying, wow, this guy was so good, he should be in the Hall of Fame right away. I think you give him a little time to get away from the sport and get to, quote, a normal life. And then you bring them back and they get to celebrate with their peers. And it really means a lot to them. And Melvin's very humble, funny, outgoing. And I could just tell it meant a lot to him and his family. Every cell phone or smartphone was recording his speech, and a big cheering section. So that makes me happy for him and his family. So that's what it's all about. And to be able to tell the story of a true athlete like him, he's among the most successful we've had in the nation, certainly in this state.
Melvin Lister, you talk saxophone, football, track, and cakes.
Cakes.
So, that's
exactly.
Multi-talented. Hey, Jeff, appreciate it.
Hey, my honor. Thank you.
That is Jeff Bollig, the vice chairman for the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. That'll do it for our Kansas Hall of Fame Spotlight.